Well, hello again. Welcome back. And what we wanted to talk about this week was an idea that's very fundamental in helping us to really relax in our lives with whatever shows up. And it's a concept that we often refer to as the universe has your back. And we're going to talk about what that means to us. But as we begin to talk about and share this idea, we want to remind you that we aren't trying to give you a bunch of ideas and concepts so you can build a paradigm about this is how life works and then figure out how to do life. The things that we share here, we want you to think about, reflect on, inquire about, is this really how life works? Because nobody can tell us how life works. We have to learn it ourselves. But just like riding a bicycle, for me, my father and my older brother gave me a lot of advice, but none of it really was what made me learn to keep my balance and ride the bike. I had to find that on myself, on my own. And it was in that moment of, learning, really testing what I need to do in life that I learned to do it. And then I could look back and say, oh, everything they said was right. But I couldn't do it the other way. I couldn't do riding a bike. I had to find that within myself. So that's what we're encouraging you to do here too, is to listen to what we have to say. But what we're wanting is for you to find that balance within yourself. Find the truth of how life works for you by looking within.
Yeah, and the way you do that, it's so simple, is just to get quiet and reflect and look at your own life. Is what they said true in relation to my own experience of life? So, what I wanted to share with you is over the years, as I've gotten older, I've been able to look back at my life from the very beginning. And I started life in a very volatile environment, in a very difficult environment. And at the time, I thought, well, I just don't have the advantages of other people. And wouldn't it be nice? And then as I went through life, I really refined my career skills and became very successful in my career. And I thought, oh, now I've reached a milestone that's so important. And in reaching it and looking at my life, uh-uh, no, didn't mean at all what I thought it
But
would
it didn't give
mean.
you the promised happiness and sense of well-being and importance and whatever you were looking for in success,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. So looking at my life as it's gone on, there have been times of great pain, there have been times of hoping and thinking maybe, oh, this should be really good. And I've seen it in a new light. What I've seen is that everything that has occurred has led me toward more openness and caring and joyfulness and love and a really true, profound learning of what really matters in life. And what is that for me? Well, for me, it's resting in who I really am, resting in the wisdom that's always available to guide my life perfectly. And in addition, this is the greatest gift. It's made me see that everything that life brings is a real gift, regardless of how it feels, because of the thinking I have about it. So I look forward to everything that occurs in life. And if it doesn't feel great, I tell myself, well, give it a little time and you'll be able to see what this has occurred for in order to help you grow and evolve. And I always do. So that allows me to totally relax. I know that life isn't about my striving or controlling or pushing away. All of those things I've tried in spades, and none of them were fulfilling in the deep way that resting in my own wisdom and who I really am have been. So that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah. So even those most painful moments was a form of the universe having your back.
Yeah, for example, when I had this mini stroke recently, we've been on the health crusade for a long time. And we felt we were really, really healthy. And then all of a sudden I have a mini stroke. Who, me? What? And I could have explored this before it happened and prevented it possibly. But life created, in my opinion, this experience. So I'd learn about SOS free, salt, oil, and sugar free, because we were doing salt and we were doing some oil, not a lot, but some. And over a period of years, that can make a big difference. But in having that arise, that circumstance arise, then there was a real impetus to learn more, to see how I could have an even higher level of health. And it's taken me to nirvana with food tasting and eating, because now my taste buds have changed. Everything I taste, I say to Bill, this is so sweet. I had no idea.
She says, "This is the sweetest apple I've ever tasted." And it's like, wait, didn't you say that yesterday? Same batch?
So even though in the moment of having a minor stroke, you think, oh no, what does this mean? What's really happening here? But it's a perfect example, because by relaxing and looking deeper, well, I may not understand it at this moment, but I know it will become clear as a gift. It has taken me to a world in food that I never knew existed, and greater health and thinner body. So many benefits that were so important that I didn't pursue or search after. I thought everything was great.
Yeah, I think the greatest confusion or misunderstanding when we share this idea that the universe has your back with clients, if there is some confusion, it's that it seems like if the universe has my back, if the wind is in my sails, then everything in my life will go smoothly and easily, and I'll be happy and get everything I want.
It'll be just the way I want it to be.
Yeah, yeah. And so when something happens like a mini stroke, or I was thinking back in my life, what are the difficulties that have come up that have been really painful that sure didn't look like the universe had my back at the time, but I see now how it was. I think about my first marriage, my divorce. And that was one of the most devastating times of my life. I mean, I went into a depression. It was just like, though, like someone pulled the carpet out from underneath me because I thought everything was fine. And suddenly she doesn't want to live with me anymore. Oh, it was a real wake-up call. And I couldn't understand what had happened. So I was really at a loss. Very painful. It certainly did not look like the universe had my back. And I look back on it now, and of course, it was through that event that gave me a lot of self reflection in terms of how I related to my first wife. And it also spilled over into the way I related with other people that I didn't realize weren't as loving and kind and considerate as I certainly could be and certainly thought I was being. So that event was kind of like, I talked about learning to ride a bike. You learn to keep your balance. And if you've learned to ride a bike, but then you fall sometimes, when you fall, does that mean that gravity, so to ride a bike, we learn the principle of how gravity works. And as long as we stay aligned with that, how that principle works, we don't fall over. But sometimes, when I was young and learning to ride, I'd get distracted and all of a sudden I'd fall over. And so I think about it now and I see how gravity wasn't trying to punish me. It wasn't taking the wind out of my sails. It was the way that the universe has our back to teach us how the principle works, not how the events can be manifested. So, what it's all about is learning to align with the principles of how life works, and gravity is a principle of how the physical world works. And as long as we align with that, we don't fall off our bike. So, looking at my life, the life that I was living in that first marriage, I was doing things that were really on the edge of the principle of how life works, which is basically loving and being loved. And at some point, I crashed. And it seemed like, this event was not a sign that the universe had my back. But I look back on it now, and what would have awakened me if not a hard crash like that?
Yeah, that hard crash gave you a foundation of real inquiry
Yeah.
and making betterment in your life.
Yeah, it's sure a lot better now.
Yeah.
So the universe has your back doesn't necessarily mean that life is always going to just be smooth sailing. But when I began to understand that what this means is that whatever occurs is the universe kind of nudging me in the direction of getting back into alignment with the principle so I stay balanced before I crash. The little things, the little nudges that come along that don't feel real comfortable, it's like, oh, what do I need to do to come back into that alignment with how life works?
And the quickest way is a very simple principle I've learned about life through this whole journey, which is to welcome whatever arises. And I do, and I didn't. And there's so much difference in the way I'm experiencing life. I may not see in the moment the value or the purpose or the benefit of what occurs, but I know in time I will. So I'm just totally open. Show me. I'm ready to learn whatever is my next. So if we can just simply welcome whatever arises instead of resisting it, the resistance creates all our suffering. The welcoming creates a whole new experience of possibility. And for me, it's all good. It's all good. Whatever arises, it's all good. There's a great gift in it. May take me a while to see it, but I'm so open to receiving it and welcoming it.
Yeah, I've been playing with that a little bit lately, seeing how when a situation comes up, if I start to get a little tense about it and I pause and I reflect, I'm going, oh, am I resisting something here? And I can feel myself start to open. And just the feeling I have within, it's like when I'm on a bike and it starts to get a little wobbly, like maybe I'm going to fall over, and then I get my balance again. It feels so good.
Yeah.
And we did a blog recently about just that good feeling. When we're aligned with what is, with the way life works and accepting what arises, accepting what is, it feels good. And so that can be a good guidepost, a good GPS system, too, to help us stay aligned with how life really works. And basically, that is just when we're aligned with how life really works, the wind, it's easy to see that the wind is always at our back.
Yeah. We made a great dish. I have never made minestrone soup. So I got this recipe from Mary McDougall, hearty minestrone soup. And I said to Bill, let's make this. It is so delicious. And it makes a nice portion. So you can have it for a couple of days, or you can enjoy it one day and freeze some to create a meal later on. It's really good. It's lots of veggies, a tomato base, and it has cannellini beans and string beans and carrots and celery and lots of yummy stuff. So,
Little pasta.
yeah, pasta is great in it, and it's a small portion, but enough to give it a kick.
Yeah, the minestrone combination. Yeah, it's got to have a little pasta.
So give it a go. Thanks for joining us.